Hi, I'm Hallie Moser. I am a Senior Marketing Automation Manager at AvidXchange. I work on the marketing operations team, and our team is responsible for supporting our demand generation team and our supplier generation team. AvidXchange really works to help automate accounts payable for mid-sized companies. So whenever a customer wants to pay their vendors or suppliers, our company works to be the middleman between those two. We used HubSpot before Marketo, and we had HubSpot integrated with one org of Salesforce, which was our buyer org. So the traditional buyer customer situation, but our supplier, we weren't able to market to them. So we didn't have Marketo or any sort of CRM talking to our suppliers. When we got Marketo, we knew that we needed the middleware. We knew that we were going to get the multiple partitions in Marketo, and then we were going to integrate it with the different Salesforce orgs. And that was one of our reasons for being able to get Marketo. One of our sells for the team to upgrade our technology stack in general was being able to now market to the whole supplier org as well. I know that AvidXchange supports over 700,000 suppliers. So I think that we send our mails to each of those. For context, every customer has suppliers, but some suppliers could already be in our system. So they would get a different type of mail, and it gets a little bit more convoluted based on that. And we were able to separate that with this process as well. AvidXchange being a middleman between the payments, our customers would know who we were because they were the ones who signed with AvidXchange, like, yes, please automate my invoices. However, the suppliers would get checks from us or get calls from AvidXchange and not necessarily know who we were. If someone doesn't know where that payment is, or if they don't know, yes, I've gotten paid from this customer, but it says AvidXchange on it, and I don't know who that is, it just became kind of a confusing area. And then in addition, we have the potential, like AvidXchange has the potential to either expedite payments to the supplier, or we could pay them different ways. So we wanted to be able to present the opportunity to them as like, you can get a check, but you can also get paid via, MasterCard or direct deposit. We internally had Azure. So that was kind of a question before, do we just use that tool? I think that Workato was offering a more instantaneous recipe flow, and that was critical to our need. I do think it boiled down at the very end to that instantaneous, like how fast can we get information back and forth between Salesforce and Marketo. I think between what we were looking for with the APIs, I think Workato just made the most sense, and we were able to learn the tool, and like the recipes were very user friendly. I think that once it was live, like once we saw the information going back and forth, and the Solomon group was really helpful in setting up like alert errors. So like anytime anything messes up, it would be able to alert us, and then we could see it and fix it in real time. And I think once our team really got in there and was like, oh, like this all makes sense, we can definitely keep this going. And then the business cases from different parts of the company would come in and say like, hey, can we use it for this? I'm like, actually, yes, we can. So I guess there wasn't necessarily one aha moment, but it keeps coming like throughout my career at AvidXchange. You keep getting other external stakeholders that are like, maybe we could use it for this situation. Like, yeah, we could. At a high level, Kyle will receive a list from onboarding. He will tag certain columns in an Excel sheet based on how he wants them routed. So if there are special use cases where we do need to send the mail still, he'll mark that in the Excel file. And then Workato picks that up and brings it to Azure. So it brings it to a blob, and they will do what's called create a post match. So they match it to the suppliers in the Azure database, and we'll tag it based on if it's a new supplier, if it's a current supplier, and then if it's a check supplier. So if we're paying them with check, and then they will move that file back into Workato. Workato actually brings it through zero bounce. So it'll see if there's an email address and if the email address is valid or if it gets a bounce back. And then if that email is good attached to that file, then it brings it to Marketo. And then we have a smart campaign set up so that based on those columns, which field is tagged, it'll send the right email. So if it's a new supplier, we can welcome them to AvidXchange. We can say, thanks, like here's who we are. Thanks for choosing us, or thanks for your customer for choosing us. And we're able to populate that customer information in and then send them the email that way. If we don't have an email address or it's not a valid email address, then we'll send that list back to Kyle so he can send the mailing from Click to Pay. We've definitely gotten a more conversion rate on our payment preferences, which is what the first email and the first mailer directs them to. So how do you want to be paid by AvidXchange, which has been a signal to us that they do know who we are and they are willing to go through the CTA that we're trying to get them to. I can say that we were able to show a 76% improvement in ePay conversions, which was a huge, I think that was extremely over our benchmark of even what we thought we would be able to see. Our first lift is that we can confidently acknowledge that these suppliers know who we are and we're able to pay them the way that they want to be paid. And then secondarily, when we do have like a MasterCard or VCC payment upgrade, so when they're upgrading to use our other alternative payment preferences, we do get a lift off of that. So we do generate revenue from our suppliers in that way. So it's having a 76% improvement in our ePay conversions, our ePay being those MasterCard or electronically payment, we're able to see revenue generated from this switch, in addition to the savings from the paper, from the mails.